Alright, so the hook useState. So if you're building a React app, you'll find that almost always you'll have to use the hook useState. So useState is a hook that returns two things. So the first thing is a variable where we can save some data in, and the second thing is a function that allows us to update that variable whenever we want. So today we're going to be building a very little app just to show how useState works, and we will do that with Typescript because I want to show you how Typescript can be very helpful to avoid some errors while coding. So here it is, the app. It's just a button and a picture of a cat, and we have here 3 different cats. We can change from one cat to another one. So very simple, very straightforward. Let's get into it. So the first thing we're gonna do is open our terminal and type npx create React app -- template Typescript, and then the name of the app that you want to use. So in our case, we will write cats / useState -YouTube, and this will download all the files that we need to start our project. We will wait for the process to finish. So now that everything has been downloaded, we can change directory and type code space dot, and this is going to open Visual Studio Code with our project. We can type here npm start to start the project, and we can delete all of this because we're not going to need it. So we can write here hello just to check that everything is working. We save, and here it is, hello. So it's working fine. And what we want is a button with a message that can be change the cat, and with command control space we can choose an emoji if you want. And the button is gonna have an onClick method that will call a function called change picture. So change picture is a function that we can declare here, function change picture, and for the time being it's just gonna console log clicked to check that it's working fine. Also, we want an image below the button, and the source of the image is going to be one of our cats, but we haven't imported the cats yet, so we're going to leave the image tag here, and we're going to import the images of the cat. So we can create a new folder here called images, and I have here the 3 images prepared, and I will move them into this folder. So now we can import each of the images with import cat1 from /images/cat1.png, and the same for the second one, and the same for the third one. So we can use cat1 to check that our user interface looks like we expect. So we save here, and boom, we see everything is working fine. But the only thing is we want this button to be above the image. So we can go here to app.css, and here we can delete everything but our app class name. And we can say here display flex, justify content center, align items center to, and the most important thing, flex direction column, to be able to put the button on top of the image. So we save, and here it is the result. everything is working fine, and we want the component to be in the middle of the screen, so we can give a height of 100%, the height of the viewport. So this is working fine, everything is nice. So we open again our app.tsx, and we can check that the button is working. So if I click on the button, there should be a message here that says clicked. So let's check it. Right, it's working fine. Here it is. Every time I click on it, the clicked message appears. So it's working fine. So now it's the time to use our React hook useState, because the image that I'm seeing now is the first of the images, and I want to use useState to be able to change from one image to another one. So we can say current image and set current image. React.useState, and we use curly braces because in Typescript we need to put the type of the current image here. So for the time being, it's going to be a string because we are working with these paths, which are strings, and we can give it an initial value here. So the initial value can be cat1 to be able to show cat1 as the first time that the component renders. So we can delete here cat1 and use current image. So if we save, we see nothing has changed, which is okay. Everything is working fine. So now we can use our function change picture and call set current image. And remember, in React, useState returns two things. So the first thing is a variable, and we are saving an image in this variable. And the second thing is a function that allows us to update the variable. So we are using here set current image, and we will write here cat2 just to check that whenever we click on the button, we change from cat1 to cat2. So we save. Now if I click on the button, it should change the picture. Okay, it's working fine. What we want this function to do is to change from the picture that is currently showing to the next one, not explicitly to this cat2 picture, but to the next one. So we can create here an array with the three pictures. So this can be const cat images, and this is an array with a type of string array. So string, as I said, is because we're talking about this path or this location in your computer. So we can say cat1, cat2, and cat3. So now instead of using cat1 here, we can call cat images with the position 0, which is the first item in the array, and it's gonna be cat1 as the same as it was before. So this should be working fine. And here we can do the same. We can call cat images position 1. So we're gonna check that everything is just the same. If I change the cat, I get the next one. But if I click on it again, it won't change. So what we need is, instead of using 1 here, we need to use an index that will point to the next picture. So we can call this next index. So we declare here our next index. So the question is this the first position, the second position? So this is when things get a little bit more complicated, because instead of using strings, what we're gonna do is use objects, and we are gonna use the type cat image. So cat image is gonna be an interface with two properties. So the first one is ID, which is going to be a number, and the second one is going to be location, which is the string that we were using before. I mean this string. So now cat images won't be cat1, cat2, cat3 anymore. Instead, it will be an object with a location cat1 with an ID 0, and the same for the other two pictures. This will be ID 1, location cat2, and ID 2, location cat3. I'm going to put it this way so that you can see it much better. And now useState won't return an image with a type of string, but a cat image. We still give it the first position in the array, so we are giving it this object. And when we set the current image, now we can get next index. So next index is going to be current image dot, and this is the power of TypeScript. When we write dot, we have this help from Visual Studio Code, and it can give us all the properties. So the first one is ID, and the second one is location. So we will need the ID, and we will add 1. So now, if we save, there's an error somewhere, and it says cat image is not assignable to type string. Yeah, because we are using here a source, and the source now is current image dot location. All right. So if we save, we have here the first picture. So now when I click on it, I will have the second picture, and when I click again, we have the third picture. So but the problem here is if I click again, it will calculate the next index, which is going to be the current image ID, which is 2 plus 1 will be 3, but there are no images in the third position in the array. This is position number 0, number 1, number 2, but there aren't any pictures in number 3 position, so we will have this problem. Cannot read property location of undefined, but that's fine, and we're going to fix it. So what we can do is create a function that allows us to change to the next picture, but if we reach the end of the array, it will come back to the first position. So next index can be current image ID plus 1. If it's equal to the length of the array, which is cat images dot length. If it's equal, it means we've reached the end of the array. So next index should be 0, which is the first position of the array. And if not, then we can give it current image ID plus 1. So let's check if this works. Yeah, it's working fine. And now we can see if there's an error here in image, and it's saying image elements must have an alt prop. Yeah, that's because we are using slint under the hood, because when we use Create a React app, it automatically installs slint. And to fix that, we can use an alt prop. And say, for example, cat looking at the camera. So here it is. The app is working fine, and that's it. To summarize, we have used useState to return current image. So current image has the cat image interface, which is an object with an ID and a location. And we use setCurrentImage to set the next image within the array. Alright, so I hope this was helpful. I'm gonna leave a description below the video with a GitHub to this project so that you can play with it. And if you have any comments or any suggestions, please comment below. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you soon.